Welcome to the 41st installment of ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story. I'm your host, Tiff Wells. With me today, former outside hitter from Rainbow Warrior Volleyball, a 2017 Mountain Pacific Sports Federation Honorable Mention selection, Kupono Fey. Kupono, welcome to Talk Story.
Hey, Tiff. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Now, it's been 4 years since fans saw you play for UH at the Stan Sheriff Center, now Simplify Arena at the Stan Sheriff Center. Where has volleyball taken you since that Final Four run back in 2017?
Ooh, wow. It's taken me to Italy and to Greece, actually. I spent 3 years playing overseas in one of the best leagues in the world. In Italy, and then I was just in Greece. I was in a small island, Sora. Just got back from Greece a few months ago, actually. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk more about the different teams and different leagues you're in a little bit. But when you look at players' bios, and sometimes athletes, depending on the sport, may fib on their height. Your height was listed at 6'5". Is that true or not?
With shoes, I'll say it's true. Maybe 6'6" with shoes. No,
so
I'm probably 6'4".
So 6'6" with shoes, 6'4" with slippers, maybe.
Yeah. Barefoot, yeah. Like to exaggerate. Everyone exaggerates.
That they do. Now, you recently posted something on your Instagram feed, and a quick plug here at Kupono Fey 21 on Instagram. If you're not following him. You checked off something off your volleyball bucket list. For those that haven't seen it, can you kind of describe what that was over the weekend on the Big Island?
It was a really fun beach tournament over in Kona, Kalua Kona on the Big Island. And it was unintentional bucket list. I didn't have it written, but they had lights on the court. It's a beautiful place to play. There was a lot of spectators, but we kind of ran really late, and the finals ended up being at 2 a.m. So that was an experience and a half. Me and Evan LaRochelle, former UH volleyball player, were playing together, and we played against Evan Enriquez and Emmett Enriquez in the finals, two big volleyball players out of Big Island. So it was really fun. It was a great group of guys. It was exhausting, but really fun, though. Really great experience.
You mentioned you're back home. Is this for good? And if so, what are you doing now?
Yeah, so officially retired from volleyball. It was a great 4 years. I loved every second of it, and but I just thought, with everything going on, with a lot of things going on, that I wanted to stay home and stay in one place for a while. So I just got hired as a project engineer at Nanning Construction.
Now, take us through maybe that last week of the Final Four, because we know sometimes, especially for seniors, there will be player agents going around kind of looking at the seniors and maybe trying to help them get their first professional contract. So take us through those moments, and what was it like to have people interested in you, both agents and then teams, that ultimately led to you signing your first pro contract?
Yeah, it was crazy, actually, because it happened really fast. I had no idea about pro volleyball, really. I mean, I knew a little bit from my cousin, but just going through the process, I had no idea really how it worked. And I was very fortunate to be on a good team, to have good network and good connections. So it happened very fast. We ended up losing to Ohio State in the semifinals that night in the locker room. Me and Jennings are in the locker room, and there's an Italian agent that's good friends with Milan Zarkovic, and we ended up talking to him, talked about what he sees in us, what he likes in us, what offers he can get us, and we ended up signing that night before we even left the gym with him. And within less than a month, I signed in Italy. It was really fast, crazy, and not a lot of athletes have that experience to go for that to happen that fast. It's a little different process for everyone. But definitely get an agent really helps connect you with all the different leagues in Europe and all over the world.
Now, you were in Italy. You mentioned Argos, so officially Argos Volley. But when you had an off day, what would you choose to do? How would you spend your time?
I'm a big history buff. I mean, I love going. We're like an hour out of Rome, so I'd go to Rome, just walk around the city. It's beautiful. Go see the Colosseum, the Vatican. One trip I just went to Naples. On one of our off days, we went to just try and see a different part of Italy, because honestly, we don't get to see as much. We'll go drive out to Milan or drive south, and we don't get to play tourists, you know. So when we get an off day, it's really cool to just go and venture out and see different and local spots too that our teammates are from, towns, nearby towns. So it's really cool. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about your cousin, and we just so happened to mention his name is Micah Christensen. He's the starting setter for Team USA. They're actually en route to Japan for Tokyo Games later on this month. When the Italian media found out that you guys were related, how did they approach you guys?
I think they were surprised, actually. Nah, we don't look that much alike. No, but it was cool. I remember our first game we played at our house, and like we got an interview together. He was already speaking fluent Italian. It was really cool just to watch, and I didn't understand anything anyone was saying, but it was a cool experience just having someone. It's easy just having Americans on your team. It makes life so much easier, and just to have my cousin like a train ride away to see him and his family was just awesome. That's definitely, like, if we had 2 days off, I'd definitely go up to see him or stay with him. So it made life so much easier abroad having him.
How cool is it when you watch the U.S. men's national team when they're on TV and you get to watch your cousin set the offense? And not only him, but you also have Kavika Shoji, you have Eric Shoji, and even former teammate Taylor Averill in the pipeline, part of that Volleyball Nations League tournament. How cool is it to see all these Hawaii connections within Team USA?
It's amazing to see. I mean, just right now, this Olympics and last Olympics, I mean, a quarter of the team are Hawaiian. So it's just an unreal percentage and unreal. So proud of them. Just being able to practice with them is just an honor. Yeah, they just landed in Tokyo today or yesterday, I think, too. So, no, it's going to be super exciting to watch them. I'm super happy for them. I'm super happy for Taylor Averill representing UH over there, and he was crushing in VNL this year. So I'm excited for his future and for all their futures. Yeah, it's really great to see these Hawaii guys representing.
Was it always intense when you and Micah would play against one another, because you guys played against each other in high school, then in college, and then professionally overseas? Was it always intense, and then as soon as the game was over, it was best friends, family type situation?
I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, we're 2 years apart, and sadly, we never got to play like on the same team. And that's something I really wanted to do in pro, but it just didn't work out. But it was definitely intense. We never talked to each other like on the court. I never wanted to I would never talk to him or chirp at him. It would always fire him up even more. So, and then, yeah, just family. But I think it's different for him. He's 2 years older than me. You know, that age gap is pretty big. So I doubt he was like too worried about it. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
It does. Now, you also went to Lima a couple of years ago, part of the Pan Am Games. And we know how special it is for Hawaii players to, play for UH. You hear the national anthem, then you hear Hawaii Pono Fey, and it means something special. But take us through those moments when you first heard the Star Spangled Banner and you're wearing USA red, white, and blue. Yeah,
that's definitely an honor too. Yeah, I get chills right now just thinking about it, because you're representing something, we love our state, but you're representing something so much bigger. And for those guys for us to represent it in a different country, playing against other countries, it's just a real honor and real special. And I can't imagine being at the Olympics hearing the national anthem too, especially if you win. It just means so much more, get chills.
You mentioned Italy was your first country where you played professionally. Then you go to Greece a couple of years later. What's that process like to go from one team to another team?
It's definitely different. I mean, just my first year adjusting to Italy, living in Italy it's a big adjustment, culture, language, everything. And then even though you're still in Europe, they're so diverse. So adjusting again to the food, the culture, the language. I was just trying to figure out the alphabet for the 3 months I was there. You know, it's a completely different thing, and it's amazing to meet new guys that live in different countries and having friends forever that live all over the world. That's just the coolest thing. And trying to pick up the language here and there and try the local food, it's an adjustment, but it's totally worth it. It's awesome.
Now, we know that 2020 was something else, and it still has lingered into here in 2021. But for somebody playing over in Europe, once COVID became what it is, how tough was it playing in Europe knowing you had a pandemic going around the world?
And I was in Italy. It was kind of a crazy experience, actually. So we heard about, you know, China, and then it hit Italy. We're in Italy. I'm kind of in the south. Micah's up north, and it hits Milan, and Milan's in a red zone. It's kind of a long story, but we have a game up north in Piacenza, and the night we land, or our bus gets there, the president or whatever extends the red zone outside of Milan to the neighboring cities, including ours. So everyone's kind of freaking out. You know, this is getting real for us. Micah's city's in a full lockdown. They can't go outside. We have to bus back. We don't even know if we're going to get let back if there's cops on the street, or like, you know, if we can't even get home. You know, so we end up forfeiting the game. We leave, we go home. And since we were in the red zone, technically we all got put on a list for 2 weeks to quarantine. So all the Americans are trying to get out. Everyone's trying to get out. The league doesn't know what to do. They're losing sponsors, they're losing money. So everything's going chaos. All the Americans are on flights. I'm stuck in my house talking to my agent, trying to get out of the country, but I can't because I could get, you know, arrested if I leave, basically, because I'm on the police report or whatever. And it was just a crazy experience. Finally, we waited the 2 weeks. All is good. You know, there's still flights available. Seeing the country go from yellow, orange to red, and you're just stuck in your apartment is it was a little scary for a second. Just, you never know what's going to happen, right? Never been in a situation before. So it was definitely a unique experience, but got home safe, so that's all that matters.
You mentioned, less before we take our break here, you mentioned kind of just being stuck at home for 2 weeks. Now, were you able to, you know, still do some free weights, or just how did you stay in volleyball shape, but also just stay mentally focused while you're stuck for 2 weeks?
So yeah, you're trying to stay in shape, right? You're trying to do like squats. They're delivering water bottles to us, huge gallon jugs, and we're just doing RDLs or squats with like 6-pack of water bottles, right? Like that's all we can do. We basically knew the season was over. Like we only had one more game in season, and they're trying to figure out the money. There was meetings with the captains, so we basically knew it was over. I think everyone's motivation was a little lower, just trying to not worrying about our body, just trying to get home safe to our families, especially people with families. So that was the main concern. It was actually interesting because I ended up going back to Greece after 2020, like halfway through the next season because of my shoulder. And the whole league got COVID. And we get up there. It was like my second week. We go up to a team, or I have to meet the team. They come back. And that team had some cases, but they played, and then they came back, kind of gave it to everyone. We flew up we took a ferry up to Athens, and we kind of dropped like flies, and we had to do another 2 weeks again. So it was it's a little hard to play with COVID, especially with not many fans, but we did it, and you got to do what you got to do, you know.
You got to do what you got to do, like you said.
Yeah.
You know what we got to do right now? We got to take our break, but stay right there, Kupono. Along with Kupono Fey from UH Men's Volleyball, former outside hitter, I'm Tiff Wells, and you're listening to ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story. Welcome back to ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story. I'm your host, Tiff Wells. We're here with former outside hitter from UH Men's Volleyball, Kupono Fey. Now, Kupono, you mentioned about 2020. You came home for a bit, and we know that a lot of people did some DIY projects. And those DIY projects, actually for you and your family, moved into 2021. Tell us about this new lifting area and this garage at your house, Mr. Engineer.
Yeah, we're all stuck in the house. Everyone was home. My parents been wanting to renovate the kitchen. It's been an old kitchen, real old garage, and we ended up demoing everything. And we had a bunch of CrossFit weights, and we built a roof over it, put a platform down, and poured some cement, and then we knocked the garage down, built a new garage, and we're finally finishing the kitchen and the living room. We put new floors and a new kitchen, so total renovation, total 2020 renovation, and it came out amazing. We're really lucky to have my girlfriend's father. He's real handy, and he helped us with everything. So it was a really fun family project. It definitely broke all of us, but it was worth it.
And this family, you guys are quite active because you're either paddleboarding or you're out at the beach, you're hiking. But there's also a relatively new sport that that has come about, and you guys, we see it again. We see it on social media. What got the Fey family into pickleball?
One of our friends, they flew up. Actually, my 2015, my sophomore year, we flew up to Stanford, right, to play in the NCAA's. And they stay with our friend Garrett Komisarek, and his father's a huge pickleball guy, and they picked it up with him while they were staying with him. And we kind of just bought a net and we drew chalk on the street, and we've been playing pretty regularly, actually, definitely weekly during COVID. So no, it's getting pretty competitive at our house again.
Now we got to go back and ask about your cousin Micah, because not only is he the starting setter for the U.S. men's national team, but he was also Mr. Basketball in his time at Kamehameha in high school. Now you also played basketball at Punahou, so I have to ask, if you guys were going to play a game of horse, who wins?
Oh, definitely not me. I'll take it. I'll say it straight up. No. We definitely bought a hoop during COVID too to put on the street, and we were shooting every day over there. No, yeah, not going up against the 2-time Player of the Year for Gatorade Player of the Year. No chance. No, but it's been really fun though.
When did you know volleyball was going to be your ticket, and what led you to sign with UH?
When did I know volleyball was going to be my ticket? Probably I didn't start playing club until I was like 15, when we joined Kupono. And I think it was that first trip I took with you guys, our 15th year. And I ended up just making the all-tournament team. I mean, we had a really good team with Fisher and Scotty and a bunch of guys. And but I ended up getting chosen, and we came in 5th, and kind of just felt like, in trying to go try out for USA. And we get on the USA A1 team, and then it just kept going from there. And I figured, I got to stick with volleyball, and I quit football probably 9th grade just to spend more time on volleyball. So that's probably when I realized that I needed to focus more on it. And
there's something that's very special with you and your family, because a lot of people could be a second generation collegiate athlete. You're actually a 3rd generation with your grandfather, the late Harry Clown Kahuanui, former UH football All-American. Your mom, Shelly, great basketball player in her day at UH on the Rainbow Wahine side. To be a legacy athlete UH, how special is it? What does it mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, honestly, we didn't realize it until after I committed. We were like, oh, I think you're a 3rd generation UH athlete. We didn't really think about it when I was in the commitment process. But just having every single game there, and when I was a kid, she would always get access, and she'd know everyone, and she'd go on the court. I'd be so jealous. And having my grandfather's plaque up in the Circle of Honor, I'd go put lays on his plaque after every game, and it's just real special. It feels like home. And just to be in the stand myself, I've always wanted to be next to him in the Circle of Honor. I don't know if that probably will never happen, but just to be in the stand with him is just something super. It's just so cool, and just super honored about it. So, no, it definitely means a lot to our family too. So, yeah.
When you were overseas, what did you miss most about home? And when you would come back home for summer or for a break from playing pro, what was the first stop? Was it the beach? Was it a food place? What was it?
It was Foodland. Yeah, Pokeball and a Spamous beat. Yeah, that was my first stop every time. Honestly, it's probably weird saying this, but I miss the food. I know being in Italy, like it's so, it's really good pasta, it's really good pizza, but it's only pasta and pizza, and you get tired of it real quick. So being in Hawaii, you have so much variety, and you don't have that over there. So I miss the food so much. Yeah.
Something that has started to make its way into collegiate athletics is the NIL, or the name, image, and likeness, where athletes can profit off of their name, image, and likeness. And so if this was around when you played, what companies do you think you would have worked well with to try to associate with while you were playing collegiate volleyball?
That's a really hard question. Honestly, I have no idea. We're pretty big here. I would have loved to partner with anyone, to be honest, and definitely something I believe in. It's hard to think off the top of my head. It's crazy to think now that I missed it by 4 years, to be able to do this and to have that opportunity. But at the end of the day, we are still a small sport. Football and basketball are still going to get the most out of this rule change. But anything would totally help put food in my belly or something during college,
2014, it's your freshman year at UH, and you're on the team. You're playing sparingly, maybe 22 or 23 sets, throughout the season. Was it tough being on the bench after having a very good high school career?
Yeah, it's always tough, right? You want to play. That's it. You want to play, and whatever I had to do, I would have done it to play. So I was always in the office talking to Charlie. I was always with Milan in the gym, working my butt off and pushing him and pushing other guys to get me on the court, asking them what I need to do to be on the court. It's hard, but then you look back on it, and it was a real growing experience, for sure. And I needed that. I wasn't like the dominant player in high school or anything. So I really needed to work and get more physical. So I needed time, and I thought about redshirting, but I'm glad I got to graduate with Jennings and Hendrick and Ian. So that was a real good group of guys. What's crazy is that Charlie was always telling me about I need better court presence. And when I was younger, I had no idea what that meant. Like, what is court presence? And we had a guy, Jace Olsen, who was super confident, one of the most confident guys on the court, and I needed to be like him. And in high school, I was just quiet. I never talked to anyone. I was just always quiet, just tried to do my own thing. And I'd yell a couple times on big points, but I was never vocal. And that's something I had to learn and something I had to mature. And what's crazy about it is, like, now we have that photo of me in the stand, like, which is going nuts. And me in Kuikai, I would have never done that when I was in high school. So just to look back on it and to see how it come full circle is so cool. And, you just got to go through that process.
Something that also kind of came about throughout your career, and maybe the second half of your career, was when after a big play that you had, or a big point, or, a big situation in the match, you would pull out your jersey, you'd look at the logo, and you give it a kiss. How cool is it when you're watching, these past 4 years, now that, you're an alum, to see current players keeping this tradition alive?
Do guys do that? I haven't watched some
guys
games.
Still do that.
Who's done that? I got to talk to him. Sorry, I've been out of the country a little bit. Who kisses the H? I need to know. Sorry.
Gage has done it a couple times.
Yeah.
Rado's done it once in a while. Joe did it as well.
That's awesome. I still get teased about that this day. I got teased in the tournament this weekend about doing that after some blocks. It's awesome. I loved UH. I loved my time at UH, and I wanted to show the fans that. I wanted to show how much I love them. Guys now, I tell them all the time, like, they only know what sold out crowds are. you know, they don't know what the stand was like when we didn't sell tickets in the upper bowl. So we looked like had a full house on TV. You know, we would cram everyone in the lower bowl just to make it look like it was sold out on TV. So it's crazy. I love my experience so much over there. And I'm a huge soccer fan, and I love Lionel Messi. And he's been at Barcelona forever, and he does that. He kisses the H, and I wanted to do the same thing. I copied him. I took it. I stole it from him. Yeah, I just wanted to show my appreciation for everyone that's helped me. So I'm glad everyone's carrying on the tradition.
I got to go back a couple years. 2015. It's your sophomore season, and I'm going to give you a date. I'm going to see if you remember this. This is January 3rd of 2015. The opponent is Stevens Institute of Technology. What do you remember about your first collegiate start?
Was my first collegiate start against them? Oh, yes, it was in the Christmas tournament.
Yes, it was.
Jeez, I don't remember too much about the tournament. I remember us losing in the finals, though. No, it was really cool. I love playing with Siki, Taylor, Brooks Adore, Colby Kanatake, Davis Holt. We had a great team. We had a really great team that year. We were really unlucky. We were number one for a while. And I don't remember too much jitters. I just wanted to go in there, do my job, pass well, get Taylor Averill the ball, you know. So that was the game plan. And that was a really fun, that was a really fun year with that team.
Your jersey number at UH, it never changed. At least the number never changed, and it was 21. When you were a freshman, we hear about stories where freshmen basically get the last pick of whatever numbers are available. Did you want 21, or was it sort of just that was it and I got to go get it?
I did want 21, actually, and I got lucky because Matt Cheap had it right before me, and then he graduated the year I got in. So it was always my favorite number. It's my birthday, 21, and I'm a huge Tim Duncan fan. And it just worked out. And everyone was asking me on my 21st birthday if I did it for a reason, because it was the 21st. I turned 21. I was number 21. Yeah, it just worked out like that. So yeah.
Your senior year, 2017. Arguably one of the best teams this program's ever had, but also one of the more iconic jerseys, not just of men's volleyball, but of any UH team they've ever had. How cool was it to wear, you're born and raised here, how cool is it to wear the Hawaiian flag on the jersey, both the front and the back?
It was the coolest thing ever. Charlie's really good at that marketing, and he's definitely been stepping up the jersey game, but when he came out with that was just the coolest thing, right? And then I remember in Long Beach, our MPSF tournament, I'm like shaking, trying to wave the flag when we were winning. It was the coolest thing. I'm really bummed they switched to Under Armour and they can't do fun stuff like that anymore, but I'm sure it'll come back eventually. But yeah, it was a really great jersey. I framed one of them too, and it's going to keep that thing forever.
You made 2 Final Fours in your time, 2015, 2017. When you're watching from afar in 2019, when that team is going on their streak, when did you think that team was going to be as good as it was? Or could you see it from even when you were playing and had those guys, they were younger, with guys like Colton Cowell, Radapata Punahou, Joe Worsley, and the like?
Yeah. Oh, I could definitely see it when we were younger. Joe, when he came in, man, this kid is a workhorse, man. He's so driven. He was pushing Jennings. Jennings is so talented, and he's pushing him as a freshman. So, no, I definitely saw him. Ratto was starting my senior year as a freshman in the beginning. So I definitely saw, and Stein obviously is a great player. Definitely saw that. I knew, their 2018 year, they got into a little rut in the middle of the year. They lost on the road, I think twice or something, USC and Northridge. And when in the middle of the season, when they're still carrying on that streak, I knew that there was something real special with this team, because, it's hard when leadership changes over. There's going to be some, it's going to be hard for the new leaders. So their second year, I knew they were going to kick in a year. I knew they could make the finals for sure. Yeah, it's a great team.
It really was. Now, you mentioned your former associate head coach, Milan Zarkovic, and we all know he likes to give everybody a big old bear hug during intros. Do you have a favorite or an all-time best story regarding Milan Zarkovic?
I have plenty stories with Milan Zarkovic. Great ones, actually. But the best one that I always remember, I mean, I was in the gym with this guy all the time. Like, he was free for anyone. Like, this guy is the most unselfish person you ever meet, the most passionate person you've ever meet. And it was awesome that we got to come to UH the same year, because I was really lucky to have. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. But the best story is me and Jennings kind of, I think we're both having rough days. So we came into practice a little kind of, like tired, or like angry, or something happened. I don't know. And we started chirping at each other in practice. And, it starts chirping, and then something happens. We start getting heated. We start yelling at each other. Milan stops practice, puts us on the baseline, makes us run suicides, arms locked. And so we're running down, and it's the funniest thing ever, because we had to run down, and then on the way back, we had to unlock and then switch arms. You never think you have to do that. And it was just the funniest thing. Like, you couldn't help from laughing. I think that was the best punishment I've ever gotten from anyone ever, because I was just laughing the whole time. Immediately calm after that. So it was really funny. I got a lot of great stories, Milan. He's a great guy.
This past May, men's volleyball won the national title, 3-0 sweep over BYU. I have to ask, where were you when UH beat BYU, and how cool is it to have guys that you played with bring home a title for the school and for the state?
God, it was amazing. It's an amazing feeling for the state, for the school, for the coaching staff. Sadly, I was supposed to be here at my parents' house watching the game, like relaxing, having some beers. But something happened, and I was helping out my girlfriend with delivery. So I was watching on the phone, driving a delivery truck. So I was helping her out, not like driving, but listening to it as I was working. So sadly, I couldn't watch it with everyone, but I'm so proud of them, so proud of how hard they worked, especially in a year where, they were kind of regretting staying, right? I mean, COVID, I didn't think this season was going to happen. And they thought they were regretting it, staying another year, staying 6 years, 5 years, whatever, right? And so happy for them they stayed, and it worked out for them. So happy for the coaching staff. I mean, they've been riding this forever. I was telling some friends, it's amazing to see the progress of this program. From my freshman year, from before that, we were like last in the league. From my freshman year, we were not selling a lot of tickets. We didn't make playoffs. My sophomore year, we made the quarterfinals. 2 years later, we made the semifinals. 2019, 2 years later, we lost in the finals. Joe and them lost in the finals. And now 2 years later that, they won it. I mean, it's amazing to see the progress and to see the coaching staff. So happy for the coaching staff.
Last one here for you, Kupono. Again, we thank you for your time. If you had a message for the men's volleyball fan base and just UH fans in general, what would you like to tell them?
So much I want to tell you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for cheering for me and for showing me so much love and for being my family for 4 years and until now. So I love you guys. Go Bows.
Kupono, this has been so much fun. We appreciate the time you've given us today. Thank you so much for joining us, and continued success in all your future endeavors. Mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For Kupono, as well as the rest of us here at ESPN Honolulu, I'm Tiff saying thank you so much for joining us here on the 41st edition of ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Top Story. Until next time, wear that mask, stay safe, be socially distant.